Hello, Hayley Jepson. How are you?
I'm all right, Maddie Cork. How are you?
I am fabulous today, thank you. And a very warm welcome and hello to a fabulous guest, Alex Smith from Asht
Ooh.
Hairdressing in
Woohoo.
Reigate. How are you,
Hi,
Alex?
Hello,
Alex.
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, grand. Thank you for
We're
joining
all
us. So,
good.
yeah, all doing smashing. We wanted to speak to you, Alex, because we're both very lucky that we've got to work with you in different capacities. And you are the first person whose name pops into my head when I think who is an absolutely mint salon owner in an employed salon, who's a great leader. There's a bit of debate back and forth. There's a few picking of sides, freelance salon owners, and there's opinions floating around. And I always go, well, Alex is brilliant. So this gives me lots of joy and lots of hope for
Yes,
salon
very.
ownership. So that's why we wanted to speak to you. We absolutely adore you, and we know that there's a big worry for a lot of salon owners, in particular with recruitment and some of the sort of leadership stuff. So yeah, massive welcome to
Thank you.
So,
you.
Alex, our first question for you really is I'm interested in what your ethos is around leadership and how you would consider your style. How do you think of yourself in that way?
I don't know if it's like the best style, but I try to be firm and fair. I don't know if that's like the best thing to say, but yeah, I try to be firm but fair. I try to base myself on how my previous bosses were, but then more improved, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
like you took the best of them and then built
Yes,
on it.
I took the best of them and then I tried to add on it and learn from their mistakes. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm the best, but I try.
I think you're all right. I know quite a bit about your leadership. I think you're good. I think firm but fair is really nice, actually, because I think firm is clear, like clear, and I think it's nice that you try and be fair. I know I've heard you talk about that quite a lot, actually, and so I think that's good. Do you have any kind of ethos or beliefs around leadership? You know, like what leaders should be.
Um, well, after doing one of your courses,
Or
I would
mine.
say, I would say, definitely leadership is not the same as management.
Oh, it's not.
Um,
Shout it for the back
and
row.
I, I would definitely say I'm more of a leader. Um,
Mhm.
in the fact that I'm outward thinking, I'm always
Yes.
looking at the next way to improve
Hmm.
things and what we
Yeah.
can deliver in the salon and to our team. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, I think I'm just forward thinking maybe with my
Hmm.
ethos.
Yeah. Yeah, I say like a visionary. That's how I described it, isn't it? Yeah. Alex has done Lead from the Heart, which is my leadership program, which
Yeah.
is really about how would you describe what it's about, Alex? I describe it as a being sort of a relationship building leadership, as opposed to numbers and the nuts and bolts of running a business. I think it's about handling your people well.
Yeah, I think
What do
it's a
you
good
think?
thing to learn because I think you can either go one way or the other, can't you? You can either be
Hmm.
so numbers focused that you kind of have no human capacity about you, or
Yeah.
you can be so emotionally involved that then you kind of get dragged down with it all. So
Yeah,
I
it
think the
goes
lead
over.
from the heart is quite good because it kind of gives you the middle ground and the
Yeah.
boundaries.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you feel like
Yeah.
that. And so, what kind of things are you doing to work on yourself as a salon owner? So not what you're doing for your team. Like, how do you work on yourself with your skills and stuff?
So I obviously regularly attend courses like yours and like Maddie's. I
Hmm.
attend events, so I've just recently been to Business Network Live to see how I can improve things for myself and then
Hmm.
implement them within the team. Um, I constantly read books on how I can change the way I talk to people.
Oh, that's
Um,
interesting.
because I'm very much what they call a red person.
Oh yes,
I'm very
absolutely
direct.
yes.
I'm very blunt.
Yeah.
And not
Did you learn
everybody's
that on a
happy with
Weller?
that.
Did you learn that on a Weller course? Like the
I've
reds
learnt it
to
on
go.
so many courses, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I know that they teach
Um,
that over at Weller. Yeah, they have like the
yeah, it's all
personalities, don't they?
yeah. I've seen lots of different ways of wording it. I mean, I read It's a Zoo round here,
Oh
and
yeah, I
it's
gave you
all
that. Did I
in,
give you that?
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, and it's all
Yeah,
in animals, and so the red is the lion, so
the
I'm
lion.
definitely a lion. So I know
Yeah.
that my directness is not always well received, so I have
Hmm.
to kind of change and adapt the style in which I talk to people when they're not
Yeah.
a red person.
Yeah, that makes
Oh,
sense.
that's interesting. And so it
Yeah.
sounds like you're certainly at the moment focused on your communication skills and
I
sort of
definitely do that.
improving. Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you
Yeah.
think about it as um, having different ways of talking to different people? As in, like, some people that respond to lion, but some people need it softening. Is it more like so you can speak to people in different ways if what usually works isn't working?
Yeah,
Your preferred
definitely. Because
method.
I did sit down once to work out what each member of my team were, and then I had to adapt how I spoke to each member of my team based on what they were.
Mm.
And it was
Oh,
quite
that's
interesting because
brilliant.
I have one of each. So I
Oh,
have to adapt it in lots of
lots
different
of
So you've
ways.
styles.
got like dolphins and monkeys and all of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah,
The whole
interesting.
zoo.
Interesting.
And
Yeah.
and I know, obviously, I know you've worked with Hayley. You've done Lead from the Heart. I know that you did. You came on to our People Pleaser. You were there, weren't you, at the
Yeah.
workshop? And
I
I know
did do people pleaser.
you've done a bunch of my programs, so I understand like the working on things with your team. But what I really like about you is that you work on yourself a lot, and I know, like you say, you do podcasts and books and stuff. So why do you do that? Like, what's the importance of like taking care of yourself and your self-development, as well as doing the sort of leadership and the staff stuff?
I think I just like to learn, to be fair.
Yeah.
And I always feel that there's room to improve. Um, I don't know everything, and I wasn't taught to be a business owner. I was just taught to be a hairdresser. So I need to find my own way before I start leading others. Otherwise, you just got the blind leading the blind.
Yeah.
But I also, it's my responsibility. I'm the salon owner. Everything falls to me, so I need to know what I can do, or like how I can improve things, or like how I can get people in, just so that I can support the team as well. But I can't do that if I'm not clued up myself.
Yeah.
That
And
makes
this
sense.
this like in a nutshell is why, in particular, I love working with you. You're a very you love learning and love that development stuff. And I know that when you joined Breakthrough, which feels like a million years ago,
I
you
know.
it's this kind of journey that I've seen you on myself was like struggling with recruitment. Like, you had such, client demand was absolutely enormous, and you were in this real struggle with recruitment, which I think a lot of people listening, salon owners, will relate to. And then by the end of that time, you were like, okay, now I've just got like a bunch of staff. It seemed like it was like buses, like you waited for ages and then you had a bunch of them. So what was if you take us back to
Yeah.
that beginning struggle, like what was the struggle for you around recruitment?
I think the struggle for me was we lost a stylist just after lockdown. Um, and we suddenly had an influx of clients because, everybody was working locally or working
Mhm.
from home, and we needed people to do clients' hair. We had more clients than we did stylists. But after lockdown, there was a huge shortage of stylists. One, because either skilled stylists had left the industry or gone freelance, um, or people just didn't want to work full time.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of I kind of had to adapt my way of thinking, which I'm not going to lie, it took me a little while to come around to it. But I had to adapt my way of thinking, and okay, well, I would like a more flexible work style, but obviously we can't all do the work from home like office-based
Yeah.
people. So what can we do in the salon? So I kind of thought about like flexible days, or like having every other Saturday off, or only working one late night a week. And so I was putting lots of things out there, but lots of things weren't working. And in the end, I was just like, do you know what? If you can give me 1 hour, 1 hour is better than nothing. So I'll go with that and see what happens. And then we just started getting an influx of people.
Yeah. And I know that there was we had a chat, and you were telling me about like quite a kind of pivotal conversation that you had at an event. Do you remember? Do you know what I'm talking about? With, I think it was with
Don't
Jordana.
remind me. Oh yes, that was
Yeah.
that was a very pivotal moment. Yeah, I spoke to her and said, "Oh, how did you get to a team of 27?" And she said, "I just kept recruiting even when I didn't need to, because if they were good, they would attract clients, and if they weren't, then they would go." And so I kind of thought, well, that is a light bulb moment because I hadn't thought about that. I was just too busy focusing on the numbers and worrying about if I could afford to recruit these people. But, that's the crux of it, really. If they're good, they're going to bring people in. So
Yeah. I remember
that's
doing
what I did.
Jordana.
yeah, we love Jordana. I remember doing one of the first business courses that I did, and he was saying that people wait till they're at the peak of demand when they hire, but he's like, it's just the worst time to do it because, and I'm sure we'll come on to this, like you are then all of the demand kind of is on you, or there's just so much demand for the business. He's like, really, you need to like proactively recruit before that peak. But I get it, it's a scary time if you're thinking, I'm not like beyond capacity, or where's this money going to come from, or will this demand always be here? Maybe it's here today, it might not be here in a couple of weeks. So it's like, it's quite brave, but I do see a lot of people recruiting at the point where they're at the peak, and they're just so burnt out in that process. And recruitment's like, it's not just about putting some posts out, as you know, because you've been through this process. Like, it's not just marketing and getting a person in who's perfect the next day. It's like it's quite a long, like, how long is your recruitment process, do you like, between you kind of put I don't know, it's been longer and shorter for different people, but between the recruitment, the interview, if you do kind of trade tests, or what length of time is that, and how much energy does that require from you as well, that has to come away from your client work?
It can take a couple of months in total, because by the time you I bring people in for an interview first to see if I gel with them, if they gel with me, if they've got all the things that we want. So that takes, a couple of hours out of a day. Then we call them back for a trade test, but then you have to kind of organise what day they're free, what day you're free. So then they come in for that. So that could be a week, 2 weeks later. And then I usually get them to do a few different things in the trade test. So that takes out 3 to 4 hours. And then it's then trying to get them in, like, if we do offer them the job, when do they start? So yeah, it can take a couple of months start to finish.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I notice, Alex, a lot when I coach salon owners a lot, and most people who come to me for one-to-one coaching are burnt out, but seems to be a theme that I notice among salon owners when they come to me and they're burnt out, and it's this: they're the busiest in the salon, and they feel like they're keeping the whole business afloat. They can't get their staff busy, or they're struggling to recruit, and they're desperately trying to reduce client hours so they can work on the business, but they're scared because they've kind of got nowhere to put their clients, and it really ends up in this real cycle, doesn't it, where you get stuck. Have you experienced this at any point, or what do you think about
Yes.
that?
Yes. I agree. I think that they're scared when they're that busy, they're scared to drop days to work on their business rather than in their business, because they are the main person bringing the income in, and when you are that busy and you can see you're the one keeping the business afloat, you don't want to drop the hours. But the fact of the matter is, we love our clients, but they're fickle and they will go to other people. And I think it's taken me a long time to realize that, but you can slowly filter clients over to other team members. So if you're just doing, if you do color as well, I've sort of filtered a lot of my like tint regrowths over to a lot of my stylists, because then the client gets to know that stylist, they're sort of happy with that stylist, and then eventually I can phase the whole cut and blow dry over to them as well. And you don't lose the money because they are going to the rest of the team, but it's freeing you up with some time. It is hard to force yourself to do that because you do worry. And even like dropping a day, you worry because you think you're going to lose money. But if you can, if you can talk to your client and talk about how great your staff are and what qualities they have, then it's easy to do it.
That's so
So
true.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
You
mean,
can
yeah,
kind of lay the foundations, can't you, before the move over of bigging people
exactly.
up and
Yeah.
stuff, like the pre-launch, before that
Yeah,
happens. That's
yeah,
true though, isn't it? If you spend a lot of time bigging people up and saying this person's amazing at colour, this one's amazing at short hair, whatever, people want to go. Well, it's easier the transition, isn't it? And stuff like
yeah,
that. Yeah,
definitely.
that's interesting. What I'm interested, Alex, what have been your light bulb moments in your career? Really
My
around
career.
leadership and recruitment. Like, what Jordana said to you, Jordana Cabela, said to you really changed your mindset. But has there been other moments, around leadership or recruitment that stand out?
Definitely what Maddie was saying earlier, and I was wondering who I'd heard that from. It must have been you, Maddie. It was definitely where you when you're quiet, you're too busy worrying that you're quiet, and so you're trying to get the money in. But that is the time you should invest in and train your team, because you've got the time to do it. When you're busy, you don't have the time. You can't give them the same quality that they need for their training. So that was definitely one of my like bulb moments, and obviously Jordana conversation, and just like learning to be more flexible. Just because you've done something one way for so long, it doesn't mean it can't work a different way.
Oh,
I think just
yes.
trying to think outside the box with that helps.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I think one of the most dangerous statements that I hear, and I hear it a lot, in Facebook groups, is, but this is how we've always done it. And it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
just terrifying to me. It's that absolute fear of change, isn't it? But another salon owner that I know called Lou, who has a salon called Wilderness, she doesn't have a recruitment problem either. And one of the
No.
things she does that's similar to you is that she lets people work whatever hours they want, and she just has a
Yeah.
lot of people. Instead of having 4 full-timers, she's got 8 part-timers. Some people are doing a day, some people are doing 2, and but she just makes it work, and the last one in has to fit around the others, and that's just how it goes. But that's how she filled her salon every day, and that sounds like what you did. It's like people want a little bit more flexibility. I think people do leave employment often due to flexibility problems. And I think
Yeah.
if you can solve that, it makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see that as well. Like with salon owners that are doing, it's just being adaptable, isn't it? And I think especially after COVID, when we all had that moment as salon owners and freelancers of like, oh, this is what 15 Saturdays off in a row feels like, and this is what it feels like to have go for a walk in the middle of the day. And I think we all had that big revelation of like, do I want to be my business, or do I want to have a life, an identity outside of that? And what happens when we lose our identity as a business owner? And what is flexibility, and what do I want out of my life and out of my work? And so I think it'd be foolish to think that our staff don't think the same way. They came back and they were probably like, well, yeah, maybe I don't want to work every Saturday anymore. And exactly to your point, Haley, of like people saying, well, that's how it's always been done. Yeah, but we used to like draw people's blood with leeches to like get rid of headaches. Do you know what I mean? Like this, thankfully there are
Move
things that
on.
have like moved on a little bit, in particular medicine. But Yeah, and I think that the people that I see doing really well that I hold up as like amazing examples of leadership, and you're very much included in this, Alex, is people who've been like, okay, people are leaving employment for flexibility, so how can we offer, like, what is it they're leaving us for, and how can we, in a legal sense, like give them this within employment, and be a little bit like let go of our sort of beliefs of it has to be like this. People have to work 6 days in December, and you can't have a Saturday off, and there's I see some amazing people in leadership who are just like, yeah, they can just take whatever time, or it's like unpaid, but you can just but they've got I think processes are really important, and so everyone's like in the loop, like communication wise. But I think people with that mentality are going to be the people who stick around for a longer time, and who are clearly not struggling, in the crisis of recruitment. So what would you say is like worked, if there's someone who's listening to this thinking, I'm in that struggle now, maybe I know that I need someone, or I'd like to have my clients go to someone else or grow or whatever that is, but they're in that worry of either I'm just really struggling to find people, full stop, or I'm scared to do it now, maybe I should wait till I'm a bit later on. What would you say to them?
In terms of recruitment, I mean, what's worked for me is the flexibility. It's the saying you can have every other Saturday off, you can have every other Tuesday off, you can work a shorter day on a Saturday, you can take that day unpaid if you want it. That's worked for me. So I'd probably say, if you are struggling, 1 hour is better than no hours.
Yeah.
So if you get someone to work 1 hour, it's 1 hour more than you've got now. In terms of, what was the other question? Sorry.
Just if they're in that concerned thing of like I guess the numbers, the money, like I think this is where I'm going to need people, but I'm not quite, should I wait until I'm like stacked out before I start that recruitment process, just for the comfort of the money, I guess, like safety net wise?
I think you can wait for your team to be 60% busy, maybe even 50% busy. Because let's face it, no team member is really 100% at capacity every single day. And most industry experts tell you that you should always expect your team to be at 75% capacity. So I think at 50% capacity, don't worry that they're not full. Just start the recruitment process, because then you have got options that you didn't have before. And for me, in terms of recruitment, I do worry if I can afford the person, but I just think, well, they've got a probationary period. I give everyone sort of, 3 to 6 months to see how they get on. I help them through that 3 to 6 months. And if it doesn't improve, then we sit down and we have a chat. But if it does improve, then you've got back what you've put in. So I would say not to worry about that so much. And with the drop in a day, you're never going to be able to grow your business or work on your business if you're behind the chair 5 days a week, 45 hours a week. Like,
Crazy,
you
isn't
can't
it?
do it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And that's what
and
we
I'm
talked
not one
about
to
in
get
Lead
up
from the
at 4
Heart.
a.m. So,
No.
We'll leave that to Maddie. But that's what we talked about, isn't it, at the beginning of Lead from the Heart as well, Alex? So many salon owners they're the visionaries, they're doing a full column of clients and they're doing the management. It's 3 jobs.
Yeah.
And it's too hard, and when you throw trying to recruit on top, it just becomes impossible. And that's when they turn up at my door burnt out. And so there's got to be time to work on your business, hasn't there, for sure? Yeah.
yeah,
I
definitely.
love it.
And I think not to take too much responsibility either, sorry. Just like going on, when I first contacted you, Hayley, it was more because I had lots of my team coming to me with their problems, and as much as I am their employer, I'm not there to manage their problems. So I think if you can delegate that stuff out, but tell them they're supported with it, then you're fine.
Yeah. It's really important to find that balance between what's your responsibility and what's like just morally and ethically okay. But sometimes when you take it on too much, it doesn't really do anybody any favours in the end, neither you nor the staff. And so finding that balance of taking care of them within the realms of the job. You know,
Yeah.
how can we help you with this problem at work? That's my favorite saying. How can we help you in this time? You know, but that takes a lot off your plate, doesn't it? And it's so true. So many salon owners come to me and they're carrying the weight of all their team's issues, you know, and they're not work related necessarily, but obviously they do come to work because we're humans. But it's all that stuff really matters, doesn't it? Yeah, it really does.
There was something else that I just want to kind of throw in the mix, because I just want to sing Alex's and your praises. But I think you've talked about the flexibility thing, but something that I love also about how you work is like the culture of the company as well, and like how you've navigated helping to take care of your people, but in a way that you're not like, come and give me all the problems. So I just wanted to like speak to that briefly, because I think just for people listening, that's a part of it as well, I think, and a part of your success, which I know, Hayley, you've helped with too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
What do you say, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, I did, when I first started out as a salon owner, I did take everyone's problems on because I felt it was my job to. But, you know, you've got your own problems and you can't express those to the team. You can't talk to the team and say, oh, well, actually, I've got this struggle, you know, so-and-so is not making any money, or, you know, what about this? So you can't manage your problems, your business problems, and then your team's personal problems all at once. You do need to detach it. So we started off sitting down as a group, and I will admit my team hated it, but we did it. We sat down as a group once a week at the end of the day on a Friday, and we just had like a 10-minute meeting where we went around the room, and we tried to not make it too miserable. I remember going on a conference a few years back, and there was this guy that said, oh, you know, when you go home and you see your partner and you go, how was your day? The first thing they do is go, ugh. And like that just sigh makes you go, oh, well, that's going to be great, isn't it? And it just puts the down on things straight away. So he sort of said, go and say, you know, what 3 good things happened to you today? So we sat down as a team and we went round the group and said, what 3 things happened to you today that was good? And they had to list 3 things. And even if those 3 things were like the sky was blue, it didn't rain, you know, I didn't spill
I'm
my
alive.
coffee on myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, then, you know, it was good. It made it a fun topic. And then everyone kind of felt better. And then we were like, what 3 struggles have you had today? And then, you know, we told the team, and then the team sort of supported each other. So we did that. And then obviously we got Hayley on board, sorry.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, we just sort of evolved with things like that. And every now and then we do little yoga sessions to just keep everybody on it.
Yeah. I think that's what I'd heard about, was the yoga sessions. I'm thinking as an employee, maybe end of the day Friday was maybe the timing could have been changed a little bit, because I think you're like ready to go Friday night and it's like, sit down.
Well, that's why we changed it to yoga.
Yeah, I get that decision. That makes sense. No, I just wanted to put that out there, because I think people listen will want to hear the culture stuff and the stuff that you brought in, and obviously did some work with Hayley. So, final question is, what's next for you? What's next on the agenda?
So, I mean, I'm interested in what's next for you, Alex. Now you've solved your recruitment crisis. You know, I think so many salon owners' brains are just totally full with recruitment panic. And I think I'm interested in what fills that space when that problem's gone. And I know one thing that's next for you is, I'm coming to your salon.
Yay.
I just remembered
You are.
I'm coming. So that's exciting. I'm going to see you in person again. So that's nice. But what's filling your brain space now? Like, what are you thinking about now you've solved your recruitment crisis?
I always have something to think about. This year I have to think about that my lease is up for renewal. So am I staying in that unit? Am I getting a bigger unit? Am I going smaller? Whatever. So I'm constantly thinking about that, which I have to make a decision fairly soon on. And then the other thing I'm thinking about is, well, it probably draws me to the end question, though I probably shouldn't say that.
You go.
I'm really focused on behavioural science at the moment. and how I can adapt it to the business and train the team on it. Because it's, you know,
Interesting.
if you can tap into behavioral psychology and the science behind why people do things, you can get a lot from your clientele. So
Yeah. So that's your
yeah,
hyper focus. That would be fair to say,
that,
then, is it, Alex?
that's my hyper
Hell of a
focus
segue.
at the moment. Yeah.
Well, thanks for that segue. So, how are you learning
Sorry.
about behavioural science? No, it's all right. How are you learning about it? Are you reading books? Are you doing a
So
course?
I did, I went to a conference in Liverpool with Wella the other week, and I saw a guy called Richard Shotton talk about behavioral science. He then applies it all to marketing. But he also has 2 books that I won't say because I'm not supposed to promote stuff, are you?
You can say.
And
It's
then,
all right. We're not bothered. We promote air fryers and all sorts. Not intentionally. We just talk
I
about
actually
stuff.
can't remember the
You're like-
titles, actually. That's awful. But
I've
yeah,
got the
he's got 2 books.
titles.
So
It's is it
okay,
the
go for
Choice
it.
Factory and the Illusion of
The
Choice?
Choice Factory.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've written. I've downloaded both of those books on my Audible. But also I hounded him like a crazy stalker after the conference because he holds workshops, and he will come in and train your team on how to do these things. So I'm attending one of his workshops,
Oh, brilliant.
and then if I can apply it to my team, I will then train my team. But if I feel like they'll get more from him, then I will book him in to train the team. So
Fantastic.
That's really
Sounds
exciting.
really good. I'm going to have a little Google of him later. So what's your hyper focus, Maddie?
Mine has
Do it.
fallen out of my head, and I don't know what it is. Tell me what
do you want
yours
me to
is.
do
I'm going to
mine?
try. Yeah, you do yours. I've never ever not been able
We're
to think of my
falling into
hyperfocus.
carnage.
Oh, it's chaotic
falling
in here.
into
I'm too excited about Alex's. I'm like, oh, I'm going to Google this guy, and maybe mine's just the same as Alex's. Yeah.
We're giddy today. We've all got a new one. It's behavioural science. It's happening now.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with cheese at the minute.
Oh.
Now, I've always got a low-level obsession with cheese. Would you remember the cheese toasty has been reigning supreme? It's worn off now, the cheese toasty. It wore off about a month ago. But, you know, there's been a good 8 months of me eating a cheese toasty every day. But I've kind of segued into cheese and crackers and just buying exciting cheeses. It kicked off. I went to Leeds just for a day out on my own a while ago to buy some glasses and stuff. And they had a brilliant food market and they had a good cheese stall. And whenever I find a posh cheese stall, I buy Sage Derby cheese, which is my favourite. So Sage Derby is sort of my hyper focus because I'm a bit obsessed with it at the minute. It's a really good cheese, but it's kind of diverting now just into general trying new cheese obsession. And so I was stood in the queue talking to fellow cheese addicts in Leeds, and this guy in the queue I was talking to was telling me about this cheese called True Grit that's got grains of salt in it.
Oh.
Like can you imagine? It is the best thing ever. So he talked me into buying that. I talked him into buying Sage Derby. And then I was out with my friend the other day in Didsbury and they've got a posh cheese shop. And I went in and I hit it hard and I was buying smoked things and God knows what. And so really it started out with the Sage Derby thing, but it's really moved into there's a cheese board happening in my house every day.
Nice.
That's what's happening.
I feel like you need to team it up with some chutneys. You need to get on the chutneys as well.
Some fig jam.
I mean, I digress. I'm obsessed with something. I don't know if I've ever used this as my hyper focus, but I went to a Christmas market in Knutsford, which is bougie, and I bought. I know, bougie. I bought a chili jam from a company called like Bongos. I ate it in about a week. Oh my God, and I bought, so I run out really quick and it was amazing, but you know, it's a little thing. I've got to get it posted. I was like, that's a load of effort. So I bought one from Aldi, rubbish. I've just bought another one from Tesco, rubbish. So now I'm going to put an order in to Bongo's chili jam and I'm just going to buy like 6 jars and get it sent to me. I'm going to bulk it and then my cheese board is complete.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it's called Bongo's chili jam. Like Google it. It's a little company from Knutsford.
Delicious.
It's the best thing I've put in my mouth in years. If you put it on a cheese toasty, It's
Divine.
amazing. It's really good. It was elevating the cheese toasties at the end of the hyperfocus.
And we know we need to elevate
That's where
all of
they
our
are.
food goods. There's a good,
Yeah,
because
chili
you
jam.
know you're going to come and visit me up at the coast one day, Hayley, and I'm going to take you to. There's a
Yes.
little shop called the Deli on the Corner, and all of the stuff there is like local, but they have a jar of chili jam. It's like nearly £5, but I was like, money's no object for chili jam. Like I can stretch to that. It's
Yeah,
delicious.
if it's a good one. It has to be a good one though, doesn't it? I've
It's
bought so many
it's very
rubbish
good.
ones.
Yeah, so you can
I'm
come and try
like,
some chili
no,
jam.
got to get the good one. So
Yeah.
far, when I come up there, we're going to eat pastries. We're now going to go to the bougie deli, and then we've got to go in the sea.
Well, I haven't been in the
That's
sea in
what's
a long
happening
time,
when
but it's
I
either you're
go.
going in the sea or you come to the gym at 5 a.m, so you'll probably be dreaming of a 7-degree North Sea swim.
Yeah, I'm getting in the sea. I'm
Yeah.
definitely not getting up at the gym at 5.
Yeah.
I'll wait for you, and I'll
When
meet you down the coast.
And Hayley's got her ice bath anyway, so she'll be all right.
exactly, yeah. Haley's fine. Haley'll be better now. It's
I'm
cold
tough.
water. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm quite excited. It's good getting in the sea.
I've remembered what my hyperfocus is. So
Oh yeah, I forgot you hadn't done yours.
we're not long from the back of the Super Bowl, right? And Aidan loves American football. I have, somewhat against my will, attended quite a lot of sports that I don't really care that much about, because our agreement is we go on holiday, he gets to go to see sports for like half a day, I get a week on holiday. So we've done like American football, basketball, football in Europe, all of this. So I did not stay up to watch Super Bowl. I mean, I'm a big fan of Taylor Swift, but that's about is where my interest starts and finished. But the things that I love about the Super Bowl, the best adverts you will ever see are Super Bowl adverts. And then there's the halftime show, which is like the ADHD dream. It's a 15-minute mega mix with guests. So the day after, I was like,
good this time.
It was Usher and was there some
Alicia Keys?
Alicia Keys. Oh, that was
Alicia Keys.
The dancing together was weird.
I didn't watch it. I've only seen the memes.
It's like watching like your auntie and uncle pissed at a disco and then like getting a bit too close, handsy. I'm like, ooh.
Really?
So the next day I was like, get on YouTube, find me the halftime show, and I watched a medley of the 20 best adverts, which is like such a freak weird thing to do. But I then have got obsessed with watching old halftime shows, and some of them were amazing, like Prince doing Purple Rain and It Starts Raining, unbelievable. Lady Gaga like jumps from the edge of the stadium on a thing.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Some of them are a little bit chaotic, and some of the combos, so like Aerosmith and NSYNC did a thing. Very weird. So yeah, I'm just going through the decades.
J-Lo and Shakira.
I literally watched that today. That was good.
Remember Janet Jackson with the boob out?
Yeah. That was a Super Bowl. So there's lots to watch. But yeah, I feel like it was a big ADHD friendly vibe. It's like, how can I get a concert of 5 different people in 15 minutes? So I'd highly recommend it if you're stuck for entertainment.
And then go binge them. So you actually spend 3 hours watching 15-minute shows.
And you don't have to watch any sports. It's perfect. So that's mine.
I've been thinking, because the Super Bowl has not been long gone as well, like we need to really level up our, I don't even know what it's called. You have to ask Aidan. The FA Cup final, what do you call it?
So there's the Premier League.
There's a few of them.
Yeah, there's the Premier League, and then there's the FA Cup final. And I know about this because Aidan's got a Newcastle season ticket, and we're playing incredibly well. So he's going to so much sports, because there's the regular Premier League games, and then there's the FA Cup games, and we've got a holiday coming up, which he was literally like, if we make it to the final, I will have to fly home from LA to go to Newcastle to then come back. I was like, if you're paying, I don't care. I'm just going to stay in LA for a couple of days, because it's like, I think 10 days before we come home or something like that. So
that feels like my moment to come to LA.
Well, there you go. You can just like high five. He'll tag you in. I've got a spare space. It's fine.
And come and hang out for a couple of days. That sounds nice.
So I hear all about it.
We need to elevate our Premier League final then to be more Super Bowl-y. This is what I've been thinking about recently.
Well, I make this comment a lot, is that what they're great at in America is like keeping you engaged. So if you watch the basketball, they've got the cheerleaders, they've got the t-shirt cannons. There's so much going on. We don't have that, and I would really like to see a more Americanized high entertainment. I want to get shot in the face with a triple XL t-shirt, do you know what I mean? And see dancers and stuff.
Yeah, I want celebrities on a big screen.
I want kiss cam. All of this.
Yes.
Let's make it happen. I'll put a word in with FIFA.
Yeah, we'll put a postcard in the suggestion box, shall we?
Yeah. More American.
Right, let's stop
spots.
this madness.
Yeah, it's going chaotic again. Right. Thank you so much, Alex. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on and chatting with you.
I know.
Thank you very much for having me.
Appreciate you.
It's been brilliant talking to you. I've just been thinking, God, you were one of my first clients, you know, I was thinking. I thought we started working together in lockdown, didn't we?
Oh,
yeah.
So it's been lovely to have you.
Yeah, it's been a
thank
pleasure.
you very much. It's been lovely to be on.
Thank you. And Jepson,
later,
I'll see you next week. Ta-ra.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. And don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments.
Please support those who support us and check out Timely, who we recommend as our favourite booking system for you. New customers can get 50% off their first 3 months with the code COFFEE50.